Hello. We are live. I'm gonna start this song over. Sorry. It's playing for a little bit there. Hello everyone. Hello to Cornbread, Austin, K-Master. Austin, I did get your question. I guess that answers that question. Purple Goop, Zodberg. I saw you share on TikTok. It looked cool. I think I said, did I send them? This is the tweet, I think I sent those. I did. Thank you, Cornbread, for reminding me. Either way. Dan is here. Hello, Dan. Classic Cameron is here. We have a good crew. I'm going to say this, top of the show, if Sinram is here, it is his birthday. So we will say happy birthday. Hello, pup. How's it going? Yes. We're here. Let's switch over. Hello, welcome. How's it going? Welcome to Movie Crap Live. How are you doing? If you're having a good Friday, hello, not plausible. Hello, Nathaniel Foga. We don't normally do Friday shows, but that's sort of how this stupid week worked out. Yeah, it's been a week. Is this camera? It looks on. Doesn't look on. I had all this. I was trying to do all this stuff before the show, and I feel like sometimes the real problem, I'll be totally honest with you, is that you don't have enough time to work on stuff. And I'm just going to do it here because alright, apologies. I hope that wasn't too noisy. Yes, it has been a hell of a week. For me, work has been very... What is that? Oh, work has been very tough. Wife's been sick, so I've been having to do a lot extra. I've been doing this stuff with two people, basically. And all that stuff. So I am, if you notice the drop off of uploads this week, it is, hello Jordan Sluffalo, it is because of that. It's because when it's at the time I get to do that, I'm just like, bleh. So that was sort of delayed a lot of stuff. But other than that, I am good. I just wanted to say that. I know that's a boring way to start the show, but just like too much going on. Too much. So I'm a little tired. Hello, Chan Talks More Movies. Whoa, he saw the Day the Earth Blew Up 4 times? Okay. Yes, I will thank you for... Okay, that's dedication, bro. I noticed... Okay, this is the first... Because I had the Movie Crap is Live tweet skeet set up, I did not get to see if anyone else guessed. I don't think they did. But this is the energy drink. This time, Cornbread was... Oh, we got 2 in a row. Okay. Hold on. And actually, Austin, you're helping me transition about something I wanted to talk about. So thank you. Black Sea Oxbow was first, but this is the C4. It is a Jolly Rancher and it is Watermelon Jolly Rancher. No one got Jolly Rancher. I would have said you win if you got Jolly Rancher, but anyway. Hello, Sir Maximus Hardwood. I'm glad I'm here too. Extra donut. You know, Black Sea, I don't know where you live. Sorry, this isn't personal. But if I ever have a chance, I would love to have one of these donuts that you make. That would be awesome. I'd be down. Just like a personal thing, I'd be down. I hope that wasn't weird, but I would be interested in that. Anyway, catch up the Paul Blart of movie distribution. Yeah, I think it is because they are absolutely a hero in my mind. Cheers to you, Black Sea Axel Michael. This is only sort of gross. Austin said, thank you, Bloxy. I would love to eat those donuts. I like donuts, so don't tempt me. I always feel really tired afterwards, but that's neither here nor there. Austin said, why didn't AIJC not announce anything at CinemaCon? Well, CinemaCon is still going, and I also want to say thank you for bringing this up. Cheers to you, Austin. Godzilla and King Kong can watch my... It's only 10 calories? Oh, it says serving size 1 can. It is actually 10 calories. You know, it says 10 calories. So you go, wait a minute. It says I'm supposed to drink this in 20 small glasses. What was I going to say? Oh, about CinemaCon. I was going to say this, but you have teed me up. So thank you, Austin. Thank you, Bloxy, for the first super chat. If there's something, CinemaCon, I've gone through so many reports and I keep finding new things. At a certain point, I just stopped because I was like, there's too many things. So if there is a thing, and I don't say it, understand, one, we have another show next week, I think, which will probably be on a Thursday. If that is the case, I will talk about it then. And I've noticed other movie shows have also said the same thing, because it is just like tons of info coming out. So I think I will get all the big stuff, but don't take it as like a diss or I forgot. It's more just like, one, I'm tired. And then two, I think it's just too much. So understand that. Also, I have these lights out. I hope you have the lights all. Hold on, I do need a monitor for that. If you can see, I put the lights right here, all fancy like. So then, if we get to this is the new super chat, I guess, incentive thing or whatever. Then if we do the crazy thing, it'll go like. Wait, did I do it right? Hold on. I can't see. Oh, it didn't do it. Okay, hold on. It'll look even cooler. So if we get to $20, I will do the laser light show. I don't know if that's like too super stupid. Is this? No, listen to me, remote. Which one? I like this one for now. Okay. Then we can do it. I think it's a cool setup. I don't know. I tried to mess with it. While also filming that Atlanta thing, which we'll talk about that in a second. Other than that, I should get into it. I know it is late, but I'll say I watched Dogman tonight with the kids. We had fun. Hello, Haraku Shrine. How are you doing? Makes me think of a punk. I mean, it's not. Yeah, well, I try my best. I don't know. Yeah, Dogman still doing, or still really good. Hello, Zane Powers. But yeah, there was one joke in it. Oh yeah, I noticed this. Okay, I'm probably gonna skeet or tweet this at some point. I noticed they say in Alien Romulus, they quote the like, "Get off her, you bitch," and from Aliens, and they do that line in Dogman, but Catman says, "Get off here, get off her, you fish," instead of bit. I was like, that's funny. So Dogman did a better quote from Aliens than Alien Romulus, and it's funnier because in a cartoon where anything flies at the wall, it makes more sense than Alien Romulus. If we're being honest, the Alien Romulus one was weird and came out of, hey, it's the birthday boy. It's the birthday boy. Look at this. It's Cineram. How's it going? Happy birthday, man. You want to hear about crazy? Last night I added at least 90 free movies to my free movie playlist. What is your free movie play? Is this like on YouTube or something? I have so many different, although I watched The Deadly Kiss. It's like a 30s detective movie where they're on an old studio. Anyway, that's awesome, man. And by the way, happy birthday. Everyone say happy birthday in the chat to Cineram. I guess we really can't sing necessarily, but yeah, Jordan Slough, you're right. Dogman did Alien and RoboCop in one movie. You know what? I didn't think about that. That's true. Anyway, cheers to you, Cineram. Happy birthday, my friend. Happy birthday. I hope you're cool with me admitting that to everyone. I should ask permission, shouldn't I? Anyway, I'm sure Sidram's unsubscribing. He's like, fuck this. Throws computer in trash. Trash explodes. I don't know. You can sing? I can? I wish I could. Anyway, cheers to you, Sidram. I'm glad. Hey, 90 free movies. That's a lot of free movies. I'm going to look at that. Cheers to you, sir. And happy birthday. I'm trying to think of anything else that happened. I've been working. Okay, so I've been working on this Atlanta Goofy thing. Um, and I think I don't want to get into the segment now, but I think that thing comes off to me a little more. We'll get into it. But I'm doing. But my idea right now is I don't know if there'll be stuff this weekend just because I'm like kind of at my wits end a bit, and I'm not. We'll see Saturday night. I do have something finished, but I'm like I don't know. Anyway, but on Monday, what I want to do is have the short where I pretend like the new Goofy movie documentary is bullshit because it's not acknowledging like what happened in the Atlanta episode, and then later that night I would put out the a review actual segment that's now as a review. So if you're so if you see the short, if you could just all pretend what I'm saying is right and that you believe it and stuff, that would be cool. I don't know. You don't have to, but like if you want to be in on the joke, that's a better way to phrase it. If you want to be in on the joke, that you understand that that is not a real thing. Anyway, I don't think anything else. I don't know. The Deadly Kiss was cool. I actually I had to take a day off because it was like kind of sore from life. Anyway, this is not a fun opening segment. Let's move on. I apologize. Let's is there anything I need to acknowledge other than the birthday? Oh, the economy doesn't exist anymore. I don't know if you heard about that. I'm sorry to anyone and everyone who has money in the world, I think, at this point. Anyway, do it for Thomas Washington. I actually have a part. Anyway, I'll tell you later, or you'll see later. I ended up watching. That is a good episode. I think we underappreciated Atlanta. All right. Oh, Grant Lewis, thank you for being here, sir. Sorry, it's always so late. I wanted to this time I was like, it's not gonna be late. I'm not gonna write 10:45, and like I had to go get. I realized the medicine that work for my wife, and I ran to get it and came back, and that's a good reason to be late. But at the same time, I was like, man, this is just cursed. I need to change it. But then when I change it, it will be at 10:30. But then it'll be early. Anyway, sorry. No, you'd like Atlanta, Austin. You'd like it. It's a cool show. You would dig it. I hope Movie Craft does not Jermaine Taram stand. Don't give him ideas. All right. Let's get into it. Sorry. This and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, for real. Either through super chats during the show where I'll drink this amazing energy drink and have more energy and keep talking about all the amazing CinemaCon and there's other movie news too. Why is that open? Okay. And all the other movie news we got going on. What? Okay, sorry, I got lost. This is all right. Sorry. Hello, Javier Patel. Let's continue. All right, so this and everything I do is supported by you, the fans, either through super chats during the show, where I will drink my energy drink, and if I get enough, I'll put on a light show. Do people like that? I don't know. Maybe you do. Anyway, it helps me continue to do what I do, but also through the Patreon, which has all sorts of cool stuff like my commentary series. There was a new episode for Knock Force's Unrealistic New York that came out on Sunday. There will be another commentary. I think there'll be a couple commentary videos this month for patrons. So if you are a patron, go check those out. You can hear how I'm embarrassed of some Knock Forces and others I like. It's if that's something you're into, you should. You get postcards, more power in the movie review vote. I did not forget about the last one. Last weekend was also crazy, but yes. Anyway, there. It will come soon and it'll all be rectified. However, you get all sorts of exclusive perks like those things, like more power in the movie review vote, access to all of the exclusive videos, including my public access show movie stuff, and all sorts of stuff like that if you're inclined to do so and financially able to. I very much appreciate if you can. However, if you can't, just liking this video and subscribing helps me continue to do what I do, and you get stuff like access to, you get my community posts, or you learn about when there's gonna be movie crap live, and community posts and throwbacks, and as well as when all of my uploads are coming up and everything like that. But if you are just watching and that's all you can do and aren't even signed into YouTube, I very much appreciate you being here, and thank you very much for watching. I forgot about the throwbacks to bring up. Nice name, guys. The throwbacks this week were Spring, which is from Moorhead and whoever the fuck his name is, who now do a bunch of Marvel stuff like Daredevil and Moon Knight, and I know won a previous movie review vote for a movie I can't think of right now. This has been 10 Years of Spring, and then the other one, was it It Follows? Was it It Follows Monday? Maybe it was. Anyway, check those out. It was It Follows, and I'm probably going to do Jared Hess's the short film he's nominated for an Oscar tomorrow. I think the Spring one didn't get posted in all the places I wanted it to, so you see that in different social medias, and you're like, why now? That's why now. I really didn't. I had it set up, and anyway, it doesn't matter. Blah. But there will be throwbacks and all sorts of stuff coming up, as well as the uploads. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the April Fool's Day video. Shot that last year. Finally finished it, got it out. And the Rocco's Modern Life thing, I shot that in 2019, and that footage has been like sitting in a folder. And then I remember I was like, I should finally do it. So that's old footage. I need to post that on the Licensed Playing Card channel, which is how I'm transitioning to. You should join the Discord if you like everyone hanging out here in the chat, and you think they're really cool. You should come to the Discord, where you have people like Cornbread, Ryan Walterson, Zane Powers, and Austin do an amazing job of moderating the channel. And you should come and hang out. We have all sorts of cool things, like the Licensed Playing Card channel, like the Ask Jim channel, which I haven't gotten to look at. Hopefully we'll do soon. You're doing Rockadoodle? Cool. All sorts of cool stuff like that. Video game channels, the daily question, the journal, all sorts of neat stuff. I highly recommend it. Is the Discord I'm most active in. And if you could join, that would be really cool. And I'm on Tumblr, Twitter, Blue Sky is my most active one, TikTok, Instagram, all sorts of things like that. And I guess I did that blind ranking thing. That was whatever. And then it's like, I noticed with YouTube, they're like, no, you can do a 3-minute short. And then I'll look at other channels, and like they can do it long. And then anytime I do it, they're like, it's a short. And then I go on YouTube, I'm like, well, you're not playing it like it's what? Anyway. Whatever. All right, let's get into the actual news. What is the first news? This is a busy news day. There's a lot going on. And can we all agree, before I talk about the main news, let me just say this. It is very weird for CinemaCon to be going on the same week of the tariffs and the economy's falling apart. It's like, can't wait to see new movies. Oh, wait, no one has money anymore. Like, what a weird, I've never seen, like, very bizarre juxtaposition of CinemaCon this year. I was like, wow, this is, I've noticed in the coverage there's no part where a studio is like, dude, have you seen, like I'm not reading any, like, the vibe here is, we're all scared. And the vibe is also, we're more scared now. But the big news is, the Tangled live action remake has been canceled. That's right, boys. Animation's back on the menu. Coyote vs. Ugly we're getting to that later. And a live action remake got stalled. We're winning. Animation's winning all around. No more. we're it's all falling apart. No, anyway. I'm actually surprised by this. I'm going to be honest. For two reasons. One, well, okay. I get why. Here's the thing with the Snow White thing in For Realsness is that most box office analysts compared Snow White to Cinderella. Cinderella costs a lot less, and did fine actually. And if Snow White had cost what Cinderella did, we wouldn't be considering it a bomb. It would sort of work out because of Disney and stuff. Now, look, I hate live action remakes. They are fucking terrible. They leave no cultural imprint whatsoever. Like, in all honesty, I bring this up all the time. Name a movie that's not Speed Racer, like a Disney live action remake that anyone references ever. Are you ever at work and someone like, other than Belle washing her clothes in the town's water supply, which is gross and weird, there's nothing I remember about any of those movies. But I do think Lilo and Stitch will still make a ton of money. But I think the Tangled thing is kind of misguided because, in all honesty, like all the newer remakes, the remakes of newer movies do insanely well. And I was surprised it's the guy who did the Better Man, the Robbie Williams thing. And I was kind of curious about what he would do next. So I was a little surprised because I would understand canceling like the Bambi live action remake or any of those smaller ones. But like I'm a little confused because it's like box office wise, like there's nothing to show that, but maybe they're seeing the tide has turned on the live action remakes, which to be honest, like fair because they fucking suck. So I think we should all be happy with this news because like that was probably one of their more promising ones and it's got canceled. Although it's weird that like a movie that like I reviewed, so we're doing this channel is getting a live action remake. I was like, oh, maybe. I mean, I still think, and I'll say it, I know I said it before on here, I know I've skeeted it and all that stuff, is like, just re-release these movies, guys. Like, why are we fucking doing these? Like, there's no way. I feel like you could do about half the promotion, put it in theaters, and make a shit ton of money. Or just do a Fathom event. Just test out the waters. Pick your biggest thing. Be like, Lion King. Sunday afternoon, we're going to play Lion King theaters. I guarantee you get them Wizard of Oz numbers where it gets in the top 10 and stuff, like 100%. Same any of the Disney Renaissance movies. So I just don't get remaking these things. My only caveat would be, I fully agree with, if you're going to give it a re-release, you pull it from Disney Plus while it's in theaters, and then when it comes back, and just give it a nice restoration and be like, have a little extra that's like why it's cool to see movies in theaters, and it helps your brand, and like when it comes back you can act like it's a big thing. I just don't get it. But I mean, it's not canceling the Moana thing because The Rock's involved, and I don't think they are, but I don't know. There are so many re-releases, like particularly in New York. I'm always surprised that Disney as a studio has sat this whole thing out. Is bizarre. Anyway, Tangled's canceled. Let's all celebrate. Animation is winning. I actually think the Coyote vs. Acme release plays into two major studio things this week. Let's talk about April. Yes, let's talk about April Fool's Day and the few things that happened that were interesting. I noticed people are not as super into April Fool's Day because everything sucks now and everyone's scared. So that's sort of ruins that one. I forget what April Fool's Day was like the COVID year, because we were all like inside and I was taking care of a kid and trying to keep my job and stuff. So it was a little like, yeah, Jordan Slovo, that's what I'm saying. With the Ghibli, it works out. Like you could, anyway, I'll stop saying this. But Adult Swim did this kind of huge Broadway production for Rick and Morty. I kind of just liked it when they just put out pilots and do. I kind of thought it was too much, to be honest. Like, I didn't really finish it. And I also think the cultural impact of Rick and Morty, like, has really fallen off. Like, I also think that's a pre-pandemic show for most people. I think there's bursts of it, but, like, its huge cultural thing was, like, pre-2020. And then I think when that, like, the I'm Pickle Rick shit and all that stuff, like, with the whole, I think it, anyway. It's still a successful show, but I used to see that like every block, like every day I'd see someone wearing a shirt. Now I don't see it as much, so I just don't think it. Nick Tendo loved it. I didn't know that. I thought it was okay, but he would fucking Pickle Rick ass motherfucker. All right. The one, okay, there was I saw Popeyes did their pickle menu, which I think everybody thought which I think everybody I actually fell for. I thought it was real because I was like, people like pickles. What? I would eat that, but it's a fake thing apparently. I thought it was. Maybe I'm not. But this is the one nobody talked about. So on the Mystery Science Theater Pluto channel, they just played the movies without the riffs. I thought that was really funny. Apparently, it happened in the morning. Uh, um, but they just played Mystery Science Theater. Like, you didn't get the riffs, you just got the movies. Well played, well played. I noticed that was just for the fandom because I didn't see much talk of that outside of that. So that was the only real April Fool's thing. I mean, I did put out I put out an April Fool. I did April Fool's Day, the horror movie. So I did one technically. It's one of the April Fools. That's actually been a video I've been wanting to do since I started the channel. Because it's like it's called April Fool's Day. So, all right, let's talk about. I am going to talk about Val Kilmer, but that brings down the mood, bro. Let's talk. Okay, let's do Coyote versus Acme, and then I'll talk about Val Kilmer. It'll bring So Coyote versus Acme has sold officially to Catch Up Entertainment for $50 million. It will get a theatrical release. Hey, hello, Emblity, next year. This I think is awesome news. Frankly, it's amazing news. I don't think anyone thought that we would get this movie would come out. It seems like Warner Brothers is both like, well, this kind of worked out for the day the Earth blew up, but I think obviously with 50 million there'll be a bigger advertising push. I would hope so. I mean, with John Cena and Will Forte, and like they can go on talk shows and stuff like that. But I'm very excited that it got bought. I think Catch Up Entertainment is probably a better thing that a studio that needs it to succeed rather than a studio that's like, yeah, I guess, which seems to be the problem with Warner Brothers and Looney Tunes. And I sort of think Warner Brothers is a bit like they're selling this stuff off, but they're both like embarrassed because like technically like I brought up with The Day the Earth Blew Up, is like it was a spin-off from a Max show, and like you really should be putting that out. And I think that announcement of all those movies this week, of Looney Tunes being one of them, was kind of be like, hey, we're still in it. And I think it like, I don't know. I did notice they announced more animation than they usually do. And I know, hey, they put out the Lord of the Rings movie and all that stuff. But I do think they're a little like embarrassed. And I sort of think there is probably a Warner Brothers shifting of CEOs. I would not be surprised if the next person, when these current people who run Warner Brothers Pictures are fired, which it looks fairly like there is, that they will then try to get a Looney Tunes movie out. Now, it'd be hilarious if they do and they don't market it as well as Catch Up, which I honestly think is probably the case. But I found it to be amazing. I'm excited to go with my kids again. My daughter actually doesn't like the Coyote and Runrunner. So I don't know about that, but I will enjoy it at least. Zane Paris, thank you for the super chat, said, what about those secret 2029 Looney Tunes projects? I've heard about Godzilla Fall. Oh, well, that didn't work out. Cheers to you. Warner's did announce, they announced a bunch of stuff, but I feel like this is the time to bring it up. They announced, these are the movies they announced. Now, almost no one thinks any of these are happening. Beyond, there's a long list. The only one on here is the Dynamic Duo, which I guess I'll talk about in a little bit, but I'll just list off everything. They claim, and I want to bring up some of these that some of them I don't, they're just names to me, some of them mean something. But like their list of movies, animated movies, they say I mean, I don't believe any of the Looney Tunes secret projects are real. Or the thing is, Warner kills so much Looney Tunes stuff. Who the fuck knows? Apologies, Lane Powers. But the movies they announced is one. I keep seeing Meet the Flintstones. I think the Flintstones and Me TV Tunes was pushing more of it, and I mean they still do a lot. I just don't. I think Flintstones is a brand a lot of older people know, and people don't actually watch the cartoons now. I don't think it is as big of a brand as people think it is. It's more to sell cereal and whatever else. But like I don't. I'm sort of questioning how big the Flintstones is. Looney Tunes, they say there's going to be one. They say Tom and Jerry, which would be cool. If you got someone like who could do, if I was them, I would look at the director of Dogman or the director of The Day the Earth Blew Up, as those kind of people should be doing a Tom and Jerry movie. They also have Emily the Strange, The Lunar Chronicles. I have no clue what that is. Cat in the Hat, which they have a lot of emphasis on, and saying they're going to launch this whole Seussical cinematic unit. I'll just talk about each of these that I know about. These next two they did. Bill Hader came out. He's the voice of the Cat in the Hat. They wanted to have all these like Dr. Seuss movies and shit. And I think there's another one on here. Oh, the places they go. I'm like I never really like the Seuss like movies as much, so I'm not maybe the best person at this. I get that it could be big. Also, like, is it Martin Short is the Cat in the Hat? My kids like that show. They watch it sometimes. And like, what isn't Martin Short like pretty big right now? Like, why Bill Hader over the already established one? That's what I don't understand. Like, wouldn't you want Martin Short? Like, he's really good at Cat in the Hat. I'm sure Bill Hader is. I like Bill Hader a lot, but like, Martin Short's like been doing PBS for like years, man. Let him have his payday. I mean, I'm sure he's fine financially. I'm just saying. Anyway, it took them 3 seasons of Jellystone. Yeah, I know, man. I was watching the other night because it was just like everyone's sick and going to bed early, so I watched like, oh my god, yes, and then I watched 2 Jellystones, and I was like, Jellystone is like a great show for me, but like I feel like if I tried to watch with anyone who doesn't understand Hanna-Barbera and hadn't grown up watching it, they definitely would be like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, sometimes some of the references and the weirdness that show gets into, I'm like, this is like the end of postmodernism, isn't it? Is Jellystone the end of postmodernism? I was like, this is the end, right? Like, we can't continue postmodernism past Jellystone. Like, I feel like it is like the nexus of like, this is where media, this is as far as we could push any of it. Sorry, I just think it's like, I was like, this is the most kid-looking show I probably watched without my kids, and it is also like potentially one of the stranger ones. It is a strange as fuck show. Anyway, I love it. I love randomly watching ones, and it's like, anyway. My new thing also is anytime my parents talk about Yellowstone, I'm just gonna pretend they say Jellystone, which is a joke only I will appreciate, which are always the best ones. The next one that is in here is Dynamic Duo. This is the one with Robin and Nightwing, I believe, and it's in that puppet animation style. I'm super interested in this. They apparently did show footage, and Warner Brothers is quite bullish about that. Hello, Wanda Natty, how's it going? Dynamic Duo is like the one that like I'm most interested in because it seems like sort of a weird idea, and I think that's really cool. The other ones that are on this list is Bad Fairies, Margie Claus, Meerkat Manor, or The Places You'll Go, and then Toto. I'm assuming about the band and not, or is it both? Maybe it's the dog from Wizard of Oz with the band Toto. That, oh my god, what if he goes to Africa? I don't know any of the other songs. Is that Toto? I actually don't know. They always seem to get guys on SNL to play the cat. You know what? You're right. How about this? Can anyone in the chat, thank you for that, Nathaniel. That's a good trivia. Cheers to you. Can anyone name, I want to do trivia and I had some, but it's been a crazy, actually, I need to write down some new trivia for the thing anyway. But for the beginning part, can anyone name anyone who's voiced Cat in the Hat who's not been on SNL? Because Martin Short, Mike Myers, Bill Hader. Is there anyone else? Anyway, cheers you. That's a good one to think about. Good for you, man. All right. Um. Okay. I don't like to get too emotional on the show, but I'm going to talk about Val Kilmer, and then we'll move on to other. This is movie news, but this week we lost Val Kilmer. I think what's really interesting, I think, about Val Kilmer is I have always known him as a really good actor. Like, I remember with Willow, my parents would laugh at like how fun he was. Like the first time we all watched Willow as him as Mad Mardigan. I remember like literally any time I heard about the Doors movie, other than Ray Manzarek hating it. Uh, but even him, I think, was like Val Kilmer did an amazing job. Like him as Jim Morrison is like a really great performance. Like he really, that movie's not the best, but he is really good in it. And I think my evolution of him was like I Mad Mardigan and Willow. You all know, or if you didn't, since it's been a while. I really loved Willow as a kid a lot, and he was sort of like this big hero, cool person to me. And then he was Batman and Batman Forever, and that was a big deal as a kid. And then I even liked the Slate as a kid. I rewatched it. It's not very good. And also like not even like the show The Saint. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that. But and I know he's Elvis in True Romance, and he did a lot of stuff. And but I really got to say, Top Secret is an amazing performance. He kills it, and he wasn't even that big then. But I think how this hit me and most, and I noticed a lot of Mad Mardigan stuff. I know Iceman and stuff, but anyone who's around my age, a lot of Mad Mardigan stuff, because I think like that was sort of considered the Han Solo role. If you, I actually read a Hollywood Reporter article about it. It's like him and Cusack, and he got it over Cusack. But I think the thing with Kilmer is he was always this weird insider outsider actor, and a lot of people have said the thing like with a lot of actors of that era that they're really character actors who are just very beautiful. I think Val Kilmer was sort of his own shit, man. Like he's more Nicolas Cage, where like I think if given the right interesting opportunities, he could do all that different stuff. I know a lot of people brought up that his role in what was it in Top Gun Maverick is going to be that part is really the button on his career. Although apparently is like another thing coming out posthumously. I just know he, as much as like in the post Batman era, he was pretty straight laced. Other than like his part in Life is Too Short is I know a little German. He's standing over there. Oh my god, awesome! That is a good joke. Thank you, man. Thank you. Cheers to you. Cheers to you. Um, and he was Moses. I never. I'm gonna be honest. That was like the most straight. Like that was his era where like I think it was right after the Saint or something. He was being a leading man. But man, he is. If you've never seen Top Secret, and I might rewatch it. If you never, I've actually never seen Heat. Believe it or not, so maybe I should do that. But he's great in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. He was very good. The thing about that is that much like The Nice Guys, but I think Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is like two guys who know how to be kooky and the center of attention, and but also know how to be great actors because they play off each other so well. Like Downey obviously was the comeback story of that, and everyone thought it was amazing, and like I get it, but at the same time, with those that duo works so well together. Anyway, he was always a cool. Um, he was just like this cool actor who I always grew up with. I always sort of liked, and it's sad to see him go. He's been sick for so long. I think a lot of people, it might have felt like this. I heard a couple people say I thought it happened already. I think because of the scene in Top Gun Maverick, which was cool of Tom Cruise to have that give up Val Kilmer that kind of ending. after Iceman. But in so many things, like in Top Gun, Iceman's not in it that much. But if I ask you to name like characters who are in Top Gun, you'd probably go Maverick, Iceman, and Anthony Edwards, maybe. So anyway, Top Secret is, it's basically like, here's the way, I'll just sell Top Secret because he's so good in it. But it's basically like the Zucker brothers, or no, the Zaz team that did Airplane. They got to do their blank check movie. I've heard this blank check phrase. There's not a lot of blank check movies every year. I don't know why that's become such a thing, but whatever. But they actually did, Airplane was a massive hit. So they could make Top Secret, which is a totally like wacky movie. But it's basically like if you made a crazy comedy on the scale, like with all the studio support and all the auteurism and stuff. And it's fucking awesome that happened. And it's basically like an Elvis movie during World War II. And like some of the sequences in it are like utterly amazing. Like some really amazing stuff. They really deserve a lot of credit for that. I know like the Zaz team got weird and all that stuff, but like Airplane and Top Secret I think is probably better directed than Airplane, and just like Val Kilmer like destroys that movie and he holds his own, and that's his first starring vehicle. You had to be talented to do what he did in that movie. Amazing. I actually don't know Tombstone though. I was thinking I should watch Tombstone and Heat. I should finally watch Heat and Tombstone. I know my problem with Tombstone, and I think a lot of people, I've heard a few Western people fight back on it, is like that story is like what we're at the third or fourth or fifth version at that point, and I'm more of a My Darling Clementine person. I don't like, because it's Gunfight at the OK Corral, but that was the 50s one, but I saw My Darling Clementine. Anyway, I need to actually see Tombstone and maybe Wyatt Earp at some point, but there's a lot of things we should see of Val Kilmer. I'm going to say Top Secret. Maybe I should see Tombstone or Heat, but the fact that we're talking about so many big cultural movies, and almost all of them, you can think of his performance in them, shows how good of an actor he was. And he was always someone I loved looking up to, and always thought he was a cool guy. And it's sad to see you go, Matt Mardigan, but I hope you gave us a lot of good memories, and thank you for the performances that you gave us all, and that we continue to watch from now on. All right. So it was just sad. It's sad when it's like a guy who, I grew up with that guy. Like he was just, he was Batman. He was Man. It's just that's the part that really. But this is what happens, people have their time, they go, and you just gotta appreciate what you got with them. It still sucks though, but I'm just saying. All right. Moving on. This is the only news story that broke that the people who wrote it had to be like, by the way, not an April Fool's joke. But we'd heard about some of this is stuff we talked about before, had been talked about before. Man, I need to get those. I kind of want those Batman Forever cups. I need to get some of those myself. But we learned this week, and it is a real story, been very confirmed. There's going to be a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel with Brad Pitt. It's going to feature more on. Okay, hold on. Sinram here said George Costamatos. Somebody is the director of both Rambo 2 and Tombstone, and they were both taken over by their lead actor because George sucks, I guess. Isn't he that other guy's what's it? Dad? The guy who did like, what was it? The Nick Cage movie, Mandy? I think he is. Wow. Yeah, he must suck if that happened twice. Jesus. Cheers to you, Sinram. Cheers to you, man. And happy birthday again. Also, is he related to I think he is related to him. Also, I believe this takes us, because of that super chat, we are now can do the light show for 5 minutes. Is this triggering? If it does, seriously, tell me. I see those warnings on movies, but I don't actually know. I'm not epileptic, you know. All right. Anyway, let's move on. Now this can go on for a couple minutes. All right. So yes, the Once Upon a Time Hollywood sequel that is now going to be happening at Netflix is going to be directed by David Fincher with the script from Quentin Tarantino, starring Brad Pitt as Cliff Booth. What is going on and what does this? I will bring up the Squid Game thing. So what happened is basically Tarantino was working on The Movie Critic. He got too into writing about Cliff Booth. Probably wanted him to punch Bruce Lee a few more times because of his weird thing with that or something. I don't know. But he got too into writing about Cliff Booth and sort of abandoned it. But Brad Pitt got whatever script The Movie Critic became with this Cliff Booth thing at the end. And Brad Pitt wanted to make it with David Fincher. And that's what happened, basically. Supposedly, we know DiCaprio is in talks to have an appearance, cameo type thing. Supposedly, most people think he's open to it because, like, you get to work with David Fincher, you get to be in a big movie. Why wouldn't you? Margot Robbie has actually already said, like, she would be open to reprising her role in some degree. So it sounds like, and apparently Netflix is very much pushing this. The theatrical aspect is not the same as Greta Gerwig with Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, where there's this IMAX push and all this shit. That is not really happening here, unfortunately. Fincher just wants creative control, and I'm sure Tarantino asked for a certain amount of creative control, and supposedly made like $20 million just off the script. But we don't know much about what this is. Most people think it's going to take place in the 70s. I mean, yeah, I think probably true. Supposedly Tarantino is more because of Brad Pitt, but I think also because he wants his last movie to be something else. We'll see what the deal is there. We'll see what happens with what's gonna happen. But it sounds like this is definitely happening. With Fincher's other projects, apparently he was going to do some Chinatown thing or something like that. That's gone. Supposedly the Squid Games thing he was doing kind of mutated into something else. That seems very no one seems to ever. I'm a little lost on that. But it sounds like he's really going to do this. Fincher's going to do a Tarantino script. I'm excited because I liked The Social Network, and I think that's the only time. He's worked with great screenwriters, like the guy who wrote Seven, whose name escapes me, but I think, didn't they work together again on The Killer? Like that, he's worked with other big screenwriters. However, I think I was reminded of Sorkin's script for Social Network because it felt like another auteur who's, usually he's in his own shit, and now we are combining them. And I think that Fincher's a really good, obviously, David Fincher's a really good director, but I thought what he worked well with him and Sorkin is he made Sorkin more cinematic than Sorkin would have ever done. And I'm really curious what he would do as a Quentin Tarantino script, especially a sequel, which Fincher's been in line for so many sequels. It sounds like this could shoot this summer and come out next year, or next year, supposedly. But is the rumor right now, because Netflix is very bullish, like, just get this to happen, please, dear God. As it's a major movie, and there's all sorts of dumb stuff about, people think, oh, well, what if this is even bigger than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? I'm like, maybe let's slow your roll a little. This just sounds cool right now. Let's just say that. But I'm excited, but I think Fincher could really show a different side of Tarantino. I wouldn't mind if what Tarantino does is do what Kubrick was planning on doing and, died so he didn't get to, which was like have someone else make his movies and he could just like chill. And I'm okay with, like, if an older director is like, I'm just going to write the script and if anyone wants it, that'd be cool. I'm okay with that. I think that'd be a neat idea. So we'll see, but I think, Fincher needs a bigger kind of thing. The Killer didn't really... Was it The Killer? No, it was called whatever it was. I hope this does well for him, and I'm curious about it. Cliff Booth is not my favorite, but I'm curious, like, what I really would like to know what this is about more than just like all these people together. But this was the Tarantino project we heard that was like gearing up and stuff. This is what that was. This explains. There'd been semi rumors that Fincher and Pitt were working together, which are always sort of in consideration. So I think like the rumors of that never spread far enough. But yeah, it's one thing. I think. I don't know. I think it'll be cool. So Mank didn't really. I also don't like Mank, to be honest with you. I thought that kind of sucked. But anyway, all right. I think we can turn off the light show for now. Thank you all for getting me there. We're gonna try. See, the problem is like I'm not actually through that many things, but there's so many big stories this week. Anyway, we go to wait. Okay, yeah, I thought he wrote the killer script. I like him. I think him and Fincher. Okay, you need to stop. Stop. That the one? Yeah, I'll stay with that one. All right. Okay, moving on. Wait, where we go? Okay, sorry. The Superman trailer. Is that what we're calling it? The Superman trailer that came out. It's sort of like a scene and the trailer again. I think it's on Minecraft, more the IMAX Minecraft ones, but you can watch it on YouTube. I watched it with my kids. They had fun with it. A lot of people didn't. I've heard people, the mix of reactions about crypto seem to be all over the place because some people are like, oh, we're just really selling this dog. But then, like, I watch it with my kids. My kids are like, crypto's jumping on him. This is hilarious. Like, crypto's selling the movie. Like, I do think, like, what James Gunn was so good at, like, Groot, for example, that became such a huge thing. I think he's doing the same thing with crypto. He's really good at that shit. I get it. I thought it was fun. I've heard, it looks like a fun Superman movie to me. I've heard some backlash that, like, oh, it's too nerdy. It's too weird. And I'm sort of like, but we've tried the mainstream Superman marketing, which was Man of Steel. I kind of feel like this should be different. And like a weird superhero thing sort of feels like very decent. Like, I feel like he's making a weird DC movie. And I think that's kind of cool. Anyway, I think crypto, the robots were fun. It looked fun to me, but I get that I think people are a little, some analysts and stuff who have talked about this for so long, I think I've gotten a little sick of crypto. I don't see that from the audience because I heard even people, when I went to work and stuff talking about crypto. So I think, like, to most people, they're not consuming as much media about this bullshit. And to them, every time they see crypto, they're excited. I think it's probably selling the movie more than people want to admit. But I will agree, like, yes, we don't know, like, what the conflict is in this movie. We don't, all that stuff. But I don't know. I am also curious, like, we're going to have a very weird superhero July with Fantastic Four and Superman, and how this is all going to go with the public is going to be interesting. But I thought it was fun. I don't know. I liked it for what it was, but I didn't expect that much from it. So, all right. A couple news stories, and then we'll do a whole Spider-Man thing. But you guys get ready. This is the funniest favorite thing I heard about this week before I talk about bigger movie news. So there's the streaming top 10, not like on a streaming service, like an actual streaming top 10 Nielsen does. And the show Gunsmoke. Sorry, I don't know why this is funny to me. But the show Gunsmoke, which ran from 1955 to 1975, claimed a spot among the top 10 acquired series on streaming for the week of March 3rd to 9th. Apparently half of the viewers are 65 or older. I would think so. But I really think it's hilarious that one thing I like about streaming is, like, if someone, you used to hear back in the day, like, oh man, the James Bond marathon on TBS got a huge rating, or there was a big marathon of Gunsmoke on CMT or something. And I love that like stuff like this will like something that like you know ended a long time ago can still get in the top 10. I thought that was cool. So good for you, Gunsmoke. I've never been a big Gunsmoke thing. Apparently, Gunsmoke has 635 episodes, but only 404 of them are on streaming, guys. So I'm sorry about that. But yeah, it's a real show. It's like one of the longest running shows. I think The Simpsons outdid it at some point. But when I was a kid, I really don't know Gunsmoke that way. Like every time I watched it, my dad would explain like all the nuances to it. And anytime I'd pick up a book and they're like, yeah, this book is really no. Anytime I pick up a magazine or a comic and they're like, oh yeah, it's a pretty old magazine. And it goes, oh wow, it is an ad for this new show called Gunsmoke. And yeah, the boomers love those jokes. Anyway, I just thought that was fun. I love like there's some news stories that like I'm like, oh cool, good for you, Gunsmoke. I'm not gonna fucking watch it. Although I'll say this, I went through the TV while I wasn't feeling well the other day, and like the actual antenna TV, there's like 4 channels for fucking old westerns. So it's like, what? How is this even possible? Like I just anyway, I was like, all right, maybe I should have watched Rawhide. All right, you don't want to hear about this. Zootopia 2. Yeah. It's prime grandpa material. I wouldn't mind. Actually, the only Western I want to watch is Ron Sterling did one. I think it's called The Loner or something. That one sounds cool. I've always wanted to watch that. I've heard about that since the 90s, and it used to be unavailable. I think you can find it now. But it sounded like a Rod Sterling Western show sounded cool to me. All right. So we learned about Zootopia 2. I'm sort of just picking and choosing, and then we'll just go through as much as, although we're like an hour. I don't know. We'll see how. Is this in the Jim's bingo thing? I should play that one. See how much I got. Maybe we should have watched Saddle Rush. That's true. Old Westerns are super cheap to license. That is, I bet you that. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Sorry. Zootopia 2. We got some clips from. We learned Quinta Brunson is in it. And Kiwi Kwan. It sounds like the most 2020 cast you could imagine. But Quinta Brunson, it sounds great to me as being in a Disney movie. I love her. And Abbott Elementary is still really good. I'm sort of behind, but I'm aimed to catch up. And I really love that show. One of the few, like, mainstream shows that's, like, really good at being mainstream in all audience. I gotta say. There are not a lot of those nowadays. But, like, that and the Americas, I think, are the two. But, yeah, it seems like they're in like sort of couples therapy. Quinta Brunson's in it, and it looks cool. And most of what I saw was like, I can see this actually being a worthy follow up right now. It seems like they didn't rush it or something, but we'll see. I mean, they did do that kind of Zootopia Disney Plus thing, which oh my god, that was the worst because you can't watch them all. Anyway, whatever. I don't want to get in on that, but it seemed like a cool. To be fair, the first Zootopia had the most 2010s counts. Fair. So they're doing it right. But yeah, most of what I saw are clips and stuff from Zootopia 2. Look promising. I was just like, hey, good for Quinta Brunson. See, the Kiwi Kwan thing has definitely not as fun to see him and stuff, I've noticed, because when I saw he was in Zootopia 2, I was like, oh, I mean, okay. All right, when is this guy not in a fucking movie at this point? I saw him in The Electric State. I didn't see Love Hurts. Like, I'm glad he's getting work, but at a certain point, I'm like, we need a little, Anyway, so what's going on with Blade seems to be. I'm gonna talk just a minute about this. The big rumor is that they're just gonna give it to Chad Stahelski. However, he just confirmed John Wick 5. So I don't know. There keeps being this rumor about Corey Fukunaga. I sort of don't think that would happen. And I've also heard it's just going to get canceled. I think best case scenario, get Chad Stahelski. Worst case scenario, gets canceled altogether. I'm sort of like confused on what their plan is because it's obviously not going into Doomsday. But I think like just get Chad Stahelski. He's obviously more talented than David Leitch. It seemed like it was going to go to Leitch, but I think he got stuck on something else. So I think if you can get Chad Stahelski for Blade and it doesn't get canceled, I feel bad for Mahershala Ali because they majorly fucked that guy's career, and he got 2 Oscars, and like you couldn't figure out Blade. Like I don't know. I don't understand what's going on at Marvel sometimes. I'm like, how is there not a Shang-Chi sequel? Like, you had the one franchise you actually launched in this phase. You're not even doing it right. Like, Jesus. Like, what is going on over there? In other Leo news, I guess, we're sort of just talking about Leo sometimes being movies. The Scorsese, The Rock, Leo, Emily Blunt movie has landed at Disney. This was a huge get because of everyone involved. I am sort of getting the vibe that this might like happen, which is crazy. Because for most people at first it's just like a package to everyone got involved with to just get paydays and like help The Rock out and stuff. But it seems more and more that this could happen. So I think it would be cool for Scorsese to work with someone like, I actually like, this might sound dumb or something, but like someone with The Rock. Supposedly I've heard the Pain Machine. We keep hearing that the Pain Machine or whatever, it's a Shadow Machine, whatever the fuck it is, the punching machine, the Rock Machine, I don't know, is more like he doesn't really mesh well with the rest of the movie, and it sort of doesn't work. And like I sort of think the problem with The Rock is he's a guy like Schwarzenegger, like Stallone, who really he should only be in, you know, a certain amount of kinds of movies, and they're not very versatile. And trying to make people like that versatile is a fucking stupid ass idea. But I think Scorsese could get that to work. I mean, it's like how many actors who were in a ton of stuff that just like they're never as good as they were in a Scorsese film. I have a little faith in him, but we'll see. But it did land at Disney, so. Before we get into the Spider-Man news, let's talk about that Naked Gun trailer. Holy fuck, that was funny. That whole thing with Liam Neeson as the dressed as a little girl was weird. It was also, I want to give it credit. It was actually surreal in that it's like cartoon, funny, weird. The way Zaz is, I thought was cool. Akiva Schaffer, I believe, was directing it. He did a very good job. And that OJ joke, oh my god, thank you for that. I love it. I like the Naked Guns to a point. They were never as big of a thing for me as Airplane was, but I have seen 2 of them. I don't know. Maybe when this comes out this summer, I would like to review the first one because I like that period in parody. I've also wanted to do the Hot Shots. I need to. There's a bunch of that stuff I would like to do. But that Naked Gun trailer, that's a good trailer. Like, I've watched that a few times just to laugh. Like, you won me over. You won me over. I like guy just looks up. I wanted to be like, that's actually not my dad, just because. But I will say that he's just gonna look at the camera thing was funnier than him saying anything. So that was played well. I'm excited for it. And also, like, Liam Neeson's funny. I know everyone keeps bringing up Life's Too Short and Ted, but like he was really funny in Lego Movie. To me, it's like this is because of Lego Movie, so whatever. You know what, Nathaniel Fogel, you were right. That is Balls a year after his death. Also, I didn't get to skeet this, so I'll say this right now. I heard about the Trump tariffs. Okay, I came up with some of the Trump tariffs. This isn't political, but maybe it is. So I don't know if you saw the list. There's this long list of countries, and some of them were in the Arctic, and they put tariffs on the Arctic, right? Norm of the North needs a new movie. Have them do the tariff thing, and Norm gets upset at the president. You could have Norm, hear me out. No, I know this is like, you probably, someone's waiting for the Spider-Man stuff. I don't care. Norm goes to America to kill Trump. Hear me out, guys. He hears how it is going to destroy the economy of his Arctic land, and he comes for revenge. And so we're gonna age up Norm. It's gonna just make it into like it's gonna be Pooh, Blood and Honey, but with Norm of the North. But it's also still going to be animated because let's be real, only kids with terrible parents and dumbass animation adults like me see those movies. So like, let's go all in. Let's really do it. Let's go for it. Let's like make the worst Norm of the North movie that's crazy as shit. Like, whatever the name of that company who owns it, I forget. But like, you could really do something really funny with that. I was just like, how is there not a Norm? If the Norm people want to call me, if I blue sky this later, just everybody like it and be like, wow, Jim, that's so funny. When the cold roof Terrence hit, that's the wrong. That was good. It's Arctic Dogs, but that was good. Oh, Cornbread's right. You know what? He wasn't in the sequels though. You don't need him. What if Ken Jeong's character is the Trump stand-up? I mean, he sort of is. He sort of is. Finding out that he's a dick makes a lot of sense. Cheers to you, Sid Powers. All right, so the Spider-Man news, we got a lot of kind of big things, but they're sort of little stories, but we got a bunch of them. I might pee between this because anyway, we'll see. When the cold roof Terrence hit, damn, that's an A+ there. All right, we learned that Beyond the Spider-Verse. Hold on, let me make sure I have this date right. We learned that Beyond the Spider-Verse actually has a date. I know, right? Crazy. Which is June 4th, 2027. Which is also crazy because Spider-Man Brand New Day comes out. Hold on. Brand New Day movie also comes out, I believe. Oh, it's in 2026? Oh. You know what? I actually thought it came out the same year, so I'm glad I looked that up. So basically what we're doing is we're getting, next summer we get a Spider-Man, which is live action. And then the year after, we're getting Beyond the Spider-Verse. Now, we got some images, particularly of the Prowler and stuff like that. To me, I want them to take their time. I know people are like, well, it's so many years after and you can't like not take advantage. And like, bro, look, did you not see what the animation was like? You think that, like, come on now. Like, no one's done that, like, as good as them ever. And you want them to hurry up? Maybe chill the fuck out and I just want them... I want them to be able to... I want them to make a good movie. I don't fucking care. Like, I would much rather... we get a good movie than anything else. Like, that's really what we need from this. We do not need a shit movie that got rushed. I think that is stupid, to be honest. But I thought the images look great. It looked cool. Supposedly they went back to there's all sorts of reports about this, but I'm glad that it is back, and I'm glad that we have a date, and it seems like they're going to make it, and they're keeping with the early June thing. I do think Spider-Verse is sort of like not as much right now, but I can see it sort of coming back because those films are really solid. Then we heard about Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is really just the release date, supposedly 2026. He's also going to have the Odyssey. Tom Holland's going to be crazy in that. I'm curious about Brand New Day because isn't Brand New Day apparently Dustin Daniel Cretton, who directed Shang-Chi and I guess not a sequel ever, is doing this one, and I'm sure he'll do a great job. But my thing with this is, so Brand New Day is my memory serves me. I haven't read it. Is the one where Aunt May is sick and Mephisto is like, "Oh, I'll make you a deal," and then no one will remember Peter Parker's Spider-Man from Civil War, and you and Mary Jane aren't married anymore because I'm just like the devil and I'll do something fucked up and stuff. But like nobody like knows who he is. So is it like the devil makes a deal and she does know who he, like, I'm really curious like what the twist is, because how does that, like, I'm sort of like I can see it, but I also don't love how comic book movies and media Brand New Day is the one that's after one. Oh, One More Day is the, really? Okay. maybe I should have read one of these articles. Brand New Day Explained. But like, oh, so it's like, okay. Well, I didn't know that. I mean, okay, that makes more sense. Okay. I mean, all right. I want to know more. Let's just move on because I don't think I have anything good to say really because I didn't read it. We also learned that, and this is the most interesting news, that someone asked Tom Hardy about if him and Venom and Spider-Man were ever going to cross over, and he said it got as close as he think it could get, and then it was canceled. Many people are like, oh, why, oh, they didn't want him. Like, it's probably because of Marvel gets to approve what happens with Spider-Man, and if Sony could just do it, they would have done it, but because they have to consult with Disney to deal with Spider-Man, they of course don't want to do a crossover with Spider-Man with Venom. They probably wouldn't have approved of it. So like Venom, they can tell him what to do with, but many people thought they probably don't want Tom Hardy to be Venom in the MCU, basically. They just want to have their own Venom eventually or potentially. So they thought about that. But we'll see. We'll see. But I don't know. I'd be like, they could have still done it. I don't know. It's like weird, the whole. I think they probably should have just had like some other random guy be Spider-Man in those, and he's like a dick, and that would have been funny. But you can't have two, I guess, confuse the public. That's what they always say. But all right. So next up, we probably. Oh man, there's too many things. The Beatles movie. Reminder, nearly every Spider-Man spin-off movie that Sony made, they made concept art with Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I think they probably tried to pitch it to Marvel, and Marvel was like, nope. Or maybe Tom Holland was like, nope. That would be the interesting. I'm curious. All right, so the Beatles movies. We learned that there's going to be 4 Beatles movies in April 2028. There seems to be a debate over whether they mean 4 movies within the month of April, 4 movies just starting to be released in April, because there's going to be 4 movies, one of each Beatle, or if they're all released on April 7th, 2028 simultaneously. They did push that this is the first bingeable event in theaters, and supposedly Sam Mendes is directing all 4 of them. I'm curious how this is all going to work, because like a couple of people, I think Mr. Coat on Blue Sky was like, what wouldn't it be cool if Paul McCartney has a scene where Weird Al's trying to pitch chicken pot pie, but at the same point, I'm not sure like where it ends, and like does it end with like John's death, or do they all end like with the Beatles breaking up, and like what time frame are they doing? And I don't know. I'm also like, I don't get like, do you have the material for all of them? Like, do you need to watch all 4? Can you just watch John and Paul? How different are you going to make them? What era? There's a lot of questions I have, and I'm not sure. To me, like 4 tickets is something a lot of people won't do. Like, I have to do it with my kids and stuff, it's like, or my whole family goes, but like, that's 4 different movies. It's a lot to ask for people. So like, there's a lot of questions I have about this. I'm also like, some of these people, like I've seen so many documentaries on them that I'm like, like, what are you going to get from a Beatles movie? Like, I just don't understand what nuance is going to come from that, but whatever. How many Monkeys biopics will there be? Oh, I would love a Monkeys, but they did one they did a TV movie in the 2000s for VH1. I know that. But yeah, they should. Because I'll give the Monkeys credit. They made a weirder movie than the Beatles ever made. Maybe not a better movie, but they made a weirder movie. I think, who would disagree with me that Head is weirder than Yellow Submarine or Magical Mystery Tour. Cheers to you, Austin. I will stand by that claim. I like that Cinema. But the smart move would be release one movie per week. The smart move would be make fewer Beatles movies. Yeah, I agree. I am really curious how this all works, and many people say it's going to cost upwards of $500 million for all four. I don't really get the whole thing with it, but I'm just like, at a certain point, like, I don't know, like what are we doing anyway? All right, so people keep asking about this Minecraft movie thing, so I'm gonna I'll talk about it. I did see someone watching the Minecraft movie on the bus while they were eating McDonald's, which I was like, are they going to work? Or are they just weird? It's probably that they're weird. Anyway, if you're watching, thank you. Why were you anyway? They're definitely watching it, and it looked like the effects were done on the bootleg-esque copy he was watching. But supposedly there is a unfinished version where the effects are unfinished of Minecraft that's out there. This does happen. It doesn't happen as much as it used to. It used to happen a lot towards the end of the 2000s. Like you can find I think I have a copy of Drive where most of the soundtrack is The Social Network. Like I remember copies of these movies would go around where this one scene's in there or the scene's cut differently or something like that. So I'm a little honestly surprised as that something like this happened nowadays. It's not totally unusual, to be honest with you, but it's sort of like what gets leaked, and obviously if people are looking to torrent something and the weird Minecraft movies there, it'll sort of get it more out there. I think it's because it's so obvious that it's not done. It is getting good reviews and stuff, but I think it is funny that it is that it got out there and the effects are kind of shitty and stuff. I think it's fairly entertaining, but they should release the unfinished one if a DVD or Blu-ray matter to these people still. It is kind of funny that one's around, but it does remind me of the X-Men Origins Wolverine. I had that an actual DVD of that for so long. I don't know what happened to it, but man, yeah, that was way more entertaining than that actual X-Men Origins Wolverine movie. A thing I've shot a review of twice, and I think it's just me complaining, and I never end up editing it. So anyway, we did get a How to Train Your Dragon 2 announced, despite How to Train Your Dragon 1 not actually being announced. So that's cool. They did a few announcements like that, like Now You See Me 4, because Now You See Me 3 is coming out, and it's really just to show they have confidence in the movie, which we saw a lot of at CinemaCon. So there's take it like that, but I don't know. I'm not super happy about How to Train Your Dragon remake at all. Let's do John Wick, and then we might take a. Do I have something after John? Oh, some Marvel stuff and stuff like. Jesus, there's so many things. Okay, we might be saving some of this for next time because it's getting late, and the Goof is up by the door. Might take a while. So John Wick, the John Wick stuff. Lionsgate is heavily into franchises, much like what they're doing with the Hunger Games stuff. But there's some cool stuff in here, and something about the animated prequel I did want to bring up. So we did learn there's going to be a John Wick 5. Chad Stahelski is back. Keanu Reeves is back. Apparently, he will not shoot as well through hell, which I think would be awesome. No one's really sure what it is, but there is going to be a John Wick 5. And Lionsgate is heavily pushing the John Wick franchise, both with the ballerina this summer and with Donnie Yen. I think his character is Kane, is getting his own spinoff that he's going to direct. I'm really curious why that took so long to figure out. Like, that should have, to me, like when I watch it, I'm like, oh, I hope they give this guy more, because it feels like, you see him in, he was in what, Triple X3 and Rogue One, and then he's not in American stuff, and then he's back. So I'm glad he's doing his own thing. A lot of people bring up, does John Wick have to show up in all these spin-offs? Probably. But wouldn't you want to show up in the Donnie Yen movie? I think you would. But then we learned about the John Wick prequel anime. It's in the works from one of the directors, I guess not the main director. I didn't look at how that credited out, but someone who did a lot, I guess, at the very least, for Kubo and the Two Strings. Oh man, that's a good call. Cineram's killing it tonight. Happy birthday to you, man. John Wick prequel movie is from Shannon Tyndall, who will be the director. Keanu Reeves will return, and it will be about John Wick killing all of his rivals in one night to free himself from the high table. Now, I think this is cool for any franchise to be like, hey, what if we did an animated sequel? We don't just do a regular sequel. Supposedly, Lord of the Rings was sort of the beginning of this, and we heard another one, like there's a Predator movie, there's an animated Predator movie. We're seeing this more. What this is basically is that this is because for many entertainment reporters, they're hearing the studios are like, hey, I can get another installment, fill out some of the lore. It doesn't cost as much, and I make the fans happy, and the studio's happy. They get another spinoff. Why not? Now, I think when we're seeing these, like, let's hope the financial aspect of it works out better than the Lord of the Rings movie, which didn't. I also hope it's better quality than that Lord of the Rings movie also. I hope these are all good. I think this could give a lot of really promising animators a better shot if this continues studio-wise. But we're seeing that across the board from other studios, that they're at least more open to it. So if you see, like, the Predator one or whatever this John Wick prequel anime is, seriously go see it, because it makes the studios go, oh, I'll make whatever franchise animated. I think that's a good way to take it. I really hope this continues, because I think it'd be cool to have some like actual action adult studio animated things. If this is the way we can make that happen, I legitimately think that's really cool. So this learning that has become a studio thing very much gives me hope and stuff like that. Okay, let's just do a few more things. Let me see. Sorry if I'm... Okay, I think a few more and then we'll take a break. Sorry. I don't know if we'll go late. I don't know if we'll end early. I just know we're going, and then, it's like life, bro. I guess. I don't know. Anyway, alright. We learned that there was a presentation for... Oh, hey, William Ullman is here. How's it going, man? Hope it wasn't too long of a day. Died 2003, born. Well, I'll say Animatrix was just a home video thing. I think it might have played a few nights, but it wasn't a... Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe I said that in my review and I feel stupid about it. Whatever. All right. So there was a presentation for the new Avatar thing. We don't know much about that. Supposedly studios are... There's all these rumors like studios are going to put more stuff in December, but they're like, no, they're not. Avatar. Like, don't discount Avatar, because Avatar 2, regardless of what you think of Cameron and all that stuff, I think Avatar 2, much better than that first one, really showed that people will still see these movies. And in America, despite that weird... Does anyone remember this? Like, when everyone, like, was like, oh, Avatar was supposed to make $2 billion in a weekend, and it didn't, because that never happens and couldn't actually happen. And they're like, well, it's a bomb, and you guys are all wrong. And, like, Avatar 2 then wasn't a bomb, and it was like... Anyway, I really don't like people talking about film financials if they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and that was very much that whole situation. But anyway, we learned that there's Avatar. The Fire Nation is really bad. It sounds like basically The Last Airbender. Lindsay Ellis cancel me for that, but a lot of people have said that it seems very Avatar: The Last Airbender adjacent, but we'll see. Anyway, from the Marvel stuff, there's only a few of these. They showed a trailer for Fantastic Four heavy on the Silver Surfer, and there's some exchange on a talk show about like Sue being pregnant. I honestly feel like we're sort of speed running through the Fantastic Four, but supposedly they've been around for a while and all that stuff. I'm a little curious. I want to see the Silver Surfer. It seems like they're holding it. I'm probably going to I I don't know, maybe around the time of the Thunderbolts and stuff like that. Kevin Feige also said with Avengers Doomsday that it will focus on the Avengers, the Wakandans, Fantastic Four, the Thunderbolts, and the original X-Men all fighting Doctor Doom. The original X-Men, to me, I think Deadpool won't show up till the next one. I think Hugh Jackman will be in this one. Oh, and also, I forgot to mention that supposedly Brand New Day takes place at the same time as Doomsday. So, like, what that means, maybe that means why Spider-Man's not in that or something, or he shows up later. It's like, hey, guys, I was just hanging out with whatever it is and stuff. William Owen said, I fell asleep during Avatar 2, but it was a really good nap, so I was okay with it. I can't disagree. The ending's really cool. If you're ever doubting Avatar 2, I would recommend just, if you watch the ending, it's like a proper Cameron Terminator 2 goes on very long action kind of thing. But I will say that movie took a long time, and I totally get. I see more people I talked to didn't like it that much. So, but I'm glad you had a good nap. You deserve it, man. Cheers to you, William Melvin. Cheers to you. All right. Next up, we have Fox has picked up. Will Brand New Day feature The Greatest Day from Honora? Oh, I hope it does. I hope it does. You know what I've noticed about Honora? Anytime I watch a random TikTok or something, or just tell me movie facts, I'm like, oh, this is not political. Every now and then they'll go, I mean, at least they didn't buy a Best Picture like Honora. And I'm like, where is this belief coming from? And I'm like, oh, is it because A24 admitted how much they spent? And so people who don't know shit went like, oh yeah, they bought it. I'm like, no, they bought it like, whatever. I don't want to. It's like, why all this? Like, I think it's like anytime a movie's like different and wins, people are like, let's shit on it. Anyway, just annoying. Nora was cool. Chill the fuck out. Let Sean Baker have his thing and whatever. Okay, so Fox picked up all their big shows for broadcast, which is pretty crazy because the main belief for a long time has been like, when is Fox going to cancel this shit? Because they have way less of an incentive. I don't know if you know this, but Fox, 20th Century Fox, who used to make them, got bought. And because of that, in the old days, we would all go, oh, I would like to see Working Man. I don't know if life. I don't know, man. Because before they would keep The Simpsons on because the network was making money off that syndication, but they sold all of that off. So keeping The Simpsons and Family Guy and Bob's Burgers on doesn't really make as much financial sense, and most of the industry knows that. So keeping it on Sunday nights and all this stuff, I know they're getting the ratings, but those shows cost a ton more money nowadays. So it really doesn't make as much sense as it used to. However, they're still doing it. They still did a mega, Fox and Disney did a mega animation deal, as they're calling it, and they brought from all these shows, Family Guy, The Simpsons, Bob Burgers, and American Dad will air through the 2028-2029 season. So it's confirmed The Simpsons, at the very least, will close out the decade, as well as Family Guy. Bob's Burgers, I guess, is the less impressive of the four in terms of the entire run. Not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, anyway, I don't know why I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, those shows are going to continue throughout the entire decade. Apparently they were waiting to make this deal, and there'd been rumors that this would fall apart, and they're having to deal with cast, and particularly the Simpsons cast, who are notoriously expensive. So, which, I don't know, there's an interesting thing I've read from other voice actors who said the reason voice actors can't make the kind of crazy Simpsons money is because it's so hard to negotiate with the Simpsons cast, but that's someone else with more nuance can talk about that. I should take a break. I want to just scroll down and see if there's anything I should talk. Okay, I'll talk about the one thing, the Zelda movie. we learned about the Zelda movie. I think it was last Friday. That it is coming out. I believe it's 2027 March. I think it's 2027. And we know that the West Ball's involved. I think West Ball's a good choice. I know people are very negative on him, and I'm curious if it's because he's the Maze Runner guy. I thought he did a good job with King of the Planet of the Apes, but we'll see about all that. But I do think it's anyway. I did like that it was announced on a Friday because I used to watch Super Mario Brothers Super Show, and Friday to me means Zelda Day, so I was excited for that. But it was a good announcement. Supposedly they're pushing it pretty hard, but we will, because it's coming out in 2027. We'll probably hear casting announcements soon and stuff like that. William Ellman, thank you for another super chat. Have you seen the 1981 film Venom? Klaus Kinski and Oliver Reed fight a rubber snake, and it's the film Klaus Kinski turned down. Klaus turned down Indiana Jones. Are you fucking serious? Was he supposed to be one of the Nazis? Is that true? I didn't know that. Hold on. Klaus Kinski. 3 years old. Did he really turn it down? What? Wait, what? Hold on. However, Kinski told Spielberg that his Indiana Jones was moronically shitty and called it a yawn-making, boring pile of shit. Jesus, Klaus Kinski. What is wrong with that dude? Oh my god. I didn't know that. Oh, wow. Anyway, cheers to you, Willie Velvet. That was a good one. I didn't know that. Cheers to you. But he did, what was it, Nosferatu in Venice or whatever? I should still see that. All right. Oh, there are two other things I want to, I'm sorry. This is like, there's a reason there's only one segment. And it was going to be a long segment, so we might be going, we'll see. We keep hearing a lot of talk about The Long Walk, which is a Stephen King adaptation where people, I think, young men have to stay within like within 4 miles. You have to be 4 miles an hour, you get shot or something like that. Oh, hey, I'm glad you're on vacation, Ripley Mickey. I keep hearing a lot of stuff. Francis Larson's doing it, and Mark Hamill's the bad guy. It sounds cool. There's a lot of hype around that one. The only other thing that became a bigger, maybe news entertainment person thing, which I like to talk about those things, is the Michael Jackson movie was not brought up during CinemaCon, like barely. And it's supposed to come out in October. And if you want that to come out in October, you actually need to start advertising and not doing it all at CinemaCon. There's been a lot of debates on, apparently the rumors that I keep hearing from industry people is that one, they'll cut it into two to not have that end part. Because if you don't know, there's the end part of the Michael Jackson movie deals with the 90s child molestation charges and stuff. But apparently now the lawyers realized they had actually signed a deal to never do that. And so they realize they have to figure out the ending. So there's been rumors they might just edit it into a concert movie with the guy playing Michael Jackson. There's been rumors they'll cut it into 2 parts and just have it cut off in the middle and make an ending or something. It doesn't sound like they fucking know. And it's supposed to be a huge movie, and I'm a little surprised. Like, we should have gotten an ad in the Super Bowl and shit like that. I mean, come on, Michael Jackson and the Super Bowl are very much tied together. Because he did the first halftime show because of In Living Color, you know. But, like, there is a lot of trouble, and we'll see. There's rumors it will get pushed back. If you hear the announcement gets pushed back, it's highly possible. Or they'll just suddenly, you know, there'll be a huge Michael Jackson trailer in front of something, and we'll all be wrong. But we'll see. I think it could be a huge movie, but I am really curious how this all plays out. If it was me, I would have just done the 3 Quincy albums. I do not understand everyone's weird thing about, like, no, but let's involve Dangerous. I'm like, oh, you mean the album that notoriously left number 1 and then grunge took over? That's the album? I don't know. Unless you're telling a bigger story, but to me, just like show him and Quincy being like, yo, dude, you're fucking weird. Like, anyway, that's what I've always heard happened anyway. All right, I think that's all I want to say. Other than Princess Mononoke made a lot at IMAX. I need to use the bathroom. I'm gonna do that. We're gonna take a break. We did get past 40 actually, so I can do the light show. I'll do that during questions. We will be talking about the Goof who sat by the door when I get back. I will be. Where are we, OBS? Okay. I will be. I do talk to myself and computers sometimes. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna let the theme play for a little bit. I need to come up with music for this part. But I'll be right back, and then we'll talk about the Atlanta episode, The Goof Who Sat by the Door. Thanks for being here, Dan. See you next time. Have a good night. Hello. How's it going? Okay. Oh, the Ghibli. I thought I talked about that last week. I mean, the Ghibli AI slop. Whatever. I'm waiting for. Um, Hire needs to sue those motherfuckers, I think. What a horrible. Anyway. Um, where. Let me get all my notes here for this. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around. I mean, oh, Cinram's here again. All right. What? Why was it? Whatever. All right. So this is gonna be an interesting one. Let me just say that right now, just to keep the energy going. That's actually that grows on me. Oh, it says on there contains zero juice. I love when they say that. All right. So, Dreamwise, the Atlanta short will come out Monday, and this will come out later that day. We'll see if that actually happens. But anyway, all right. So, I'm just gonna have this one part. Obviously, you know. All right. So I'm going to talk about the Atlanta episode, which I believe is the 39th episode overall of the series, and the 8th episode of the 4th season, called The Goof Who Sat by the Door. I know previously, right before this, I released a video that sort of was joking about that and so forth. This is an actual review of it. This more serious and everything. I'm not going to act like this is a real thing. However, people did. And this is not presented in any way that this is not what happened, unless you have any knowledge of, Disney's history and stuff like that, in which it becomes very obvious. Basically, the idea of this is the idea that a black animator mistakenly became the executive, the head of the Disney animation, the CEO of the Disney animation company, this guy named Thomas Washington, and he intended to make the blackest movie of all time, which would be a Goofy movie. Now, there's certain things of this, like the title of this episode comes from both the novel as well as the film called The Spook Who Sat by the Door, which is a big kind of blaxploitation. I don't know if they count it as blaxploitation or not, but it came out around that time. As well as it's sort of close to the style of the documentary Floyd Norman, An Animated Life, who is a black animator at Disney, as well as how the CEO was appointed, is sort of close to what happened in the film Putney Swope, which is probably the most famous film from Robert Downey Sr. This is a weird. This was weird, and it was weird when it came out. But basically, what this takes is the idea that there'd been this long-held urban legend and belief that this movie was about, in this movie, Goofy was black, and it's about black fatherhood and single fatherhood and stuff like that. As well as, and there's some validity to this, is that the actual creator of Goofy, you have to have a lot of, there's so many references in this that it's sort of crazy, but the creator of Goofy actually said something that is basically he compared Goofy to I guess a color boy or something. There's a quote in the episode from the creator of Goofy, and it's a real quote. I couldn't find the Sight and Sound article they mention in this, but it's a real quote that that's one of that quote he reads off about Goofy is an actual real quote. But it's been a belief for a long time. And so supposedly what happens is you have this very promising animator, a black animator who grows up in a not great area. He then goes to Disney. He goes to SCAD, then he goes to Disney. And hey, Caden. And then he becomes, by accident, they end up voting for the wrong person. He becomes CEO of Disney after Michael Eisner takes a sabbatical, and the previous guy like dies, and he gets to be this like huge black executive running Disney at their hugest cultural time. If you know anything about Disney, um, if you know anything about Disney and the history of it, first off, they don't even mention Katzenberg, which I thought was funny. They kind of don't. There's certain things about this, like if you know the history, that none of this makes any fucking sense. And like it was such a trigger that like I was like, wait a minute, Eisner just left. Eisner took a sabbatical. Fucking Eisner. But the I also think, yeah, there's that part of it. And even the things with his son, like time-wise, I'm like, wait, he graduated school in 1990. Goofy movie comes out in 95. And so he has a kid who's old enough to, like, remember things. And, all this, like, crazy stuff that's, like, time-wise, none of this makes sense if you really, like, think about it. I actually watched this twice, and I was like, oh, yeah, the time aspect of this doesn't really work. They kind of like don't give you dates on things, so you're just like going off vibes that like this works, but like let me tell you, it really doesn't. Like he did not graduate in 1990, get married, and supposedly they were married young. Don't tell you if it was in college or not, and then have a kid, and that kid is anyway. It doesn't really work, but you get so into it, you believe it. And this episode of Atlanta, which is sort of just a documentary about their weird theory on the Goofy movie, their theory on the Goofy movie, is really interesting because I think one of the things about film culture we don't talk about, and it's something I actually think we should be reevaluating a lot, is there are certain films that are so important and influential on certain people or certain cultures or certain regions. And because they're not part of the main film narrative, we don't talk about them or don't talk about them the way other people talk about them. I bring up a lot with this is The Wiz, and we look at like with the Oscars, there are people who are like, oh, awesome, The Wiz is in there. That film means so much to me. And there are other people who are like, why the fuck would this be brought up so much? And like I've noticed there are people who feel like there's this list of the top 10 movies, and it's always The Godfather, Citizen Kane, or whatever. And I like those movies a lot, actually, but there's obviously more to it. And I think what this film is doing is it's taking a film that obviously represents a certain thing to black culture, and taking it and making it into a much more important, smart, taking it and trying to explain why this is so important to a certain amount of people. And I like that about that. And I do think we need to have bigger discussions about, we need to really change film culture and be more open to like, what if a film represents more to women or represents more to, obviously in this case, like black culture, and we're not acknowledging it because is a Goofy movie as important to the Disney Renaissance? Maybe not, but it's important to those, to a lot of people, and maybe we should be acknowledging its importance in culture, even if that's not the culture that we personally are a part of. I still think it's interesting to talk about film and talk about its influence beyond just the main narrative of film, which seems to be the main thing that people are interested in, which I think this actually does a very good job on. I heard more discussion on a Goofy movie post this, but it's also that they took on this interesting idea of what if the Goofy movie was called the blackest movie of all time. And this is actually really funny. They have parts where like he's like the guy who's playing the main guy, Thomas Washington, does a great job when he is this guy, he's like explaining to them to like understand black people and draw black people, and this guy like walks in with crutches. He's like, see, I asked him to go beat some black people. He hung out, went to a cookout, said the wrong things, got his ass beat, but now he has that knowledge. I was like, that's really funny. So it's like, you got the cookout invitation and you fucked it up. Come on, man. But as well as like the part where he he's like drinking whiskey with Robert Townsend and Janet Jackson. I was like, come on, this is like the dream of everyone's Black '90s kind of stuff. And that they got Brian McKnight to participate in it, and all that. It just makes it feel so real, and like it's a real. We're really there, and like this is a real documentary, and like why would someone make a fictitious version of Hollywood? But I kind of like the idea of it. But I think but it's interesting, like how they took like the whole idea of that the map means so much, and that's actually about them like doing like the Green Book thing and avoiding certain areas and being careful, as well as like the idea of like that the Bigfoot was put in there because they were actually going to find, I think it's like Huey Newton's chair, the Black Panther, which was just a big chair at the time, but I understand that it represents more. But like they're going to see this chair that represented all the stuff of the Black Panthers, but they cut that part out to be Bigfoot, because to them like black culture was a fantasy or something like that, which I thought was an interesting way to take it. It was funny, like the whole idea that Goofy would be shot by a cop in the car, that would be shot on stage at a major venue, like all this crazy. I did like that they had different things, so it looked like development took a long time. Although the part where the guy, you go back to the Robert Townsend Janet Jackson thing, when he opened its door and he needed to ask him, and he said like, who ordered the white rice? That was funny. How could you not get that joke? Anyway, okay. But I think one thing that a Goofy movie, this not only gets into the thing with Goofy movie where it represented this thing, people believed it to be this thing, people believed it to represent this, they believed it to they believed it to people believed that it was like Goofy was a black father, that it was like this much more black movie than people were letting on. It was all the undercurrent. I don't hear that about the show that this is a spinoff from, which is interesting, but maybe there's expanded things. However, there's a big thing about the Goofy movie that we should talk about, and I think plays into this, and it plays into a way that I recognize, and I have looked at that movie, because I saw it as a kid. It didn't mean as much to me, and I saw it as a parent, and I think this movie, there's a certain point where you're watching a Goofy movie and you used to be Max, right? And then you realize at a certain point you're Goofy now, and you as a parent aren't the cool kid who could be in Powerline. You're the guy who has to reprimand your kid for being Powerline, and that takes on a huge meaning in terms of like seeing his fishing trips with his son, and how the fishing trip in Goofy movie was supposed to be like this, obviously fictitious, but I mean Goofy movie is fictitious too, by the way. How that represents something, how his son meant so much to him, and how like I think, and I noticed this in Atlanta as well. There was that previous episode where about like the parents and their son's nanny. I haven't seen that in a while, so if I'm mispronouncing any of that, it happened in the season before, but both season 3 and 4 aired close together. They sort of talk about how like he felt there's a sense of feeling bad that the nanny's doing so much with the kid, and there's certain parental stuff like that. But I do think the idea with this is, I noticed I think there's a certain thing about fathers and sons, and how things change over time, and there's often moments where your relationship with your dad is sort of changed and hurt, and you can't come back from that. You're good, William Elman, don't worry. I got what you're doing, I'm sorry. But where fathers and sons and the relationships change, and I did notice the part of this where Thomas Washington, the kind of break for him and his madness was not his drinking and his ego. I mean, it was that was part of it, obviously. But it was honestly that he raised his hand to his son was the end. Was kind of the defining moment of his kind of decline, and I do think that represents something. And I think a lot of people think that when you do have kids, is like you worry about your own, thinking back on things and thinking back on how things changed between you and your dad. And I think the fact that recognizing this, and I do like it for its meta quality, and obviously it's a film about a film and one that's playing around, so I'm going to love it for those reasons. And even having a cultural critic in there I thought was a nice touch and everything. But I often to be 100%, or to be, I don't know, I often find the ending, I know it's not real, and I find it kind of sad, because it's just that he lost his dad, so his dad could make a film about himself, and how even her saying, his ex-wife saying how they how he just wanted to be friends with them and stuff like that. So it like he just wanted to be a part and be like a friend with Goofy. And I've literally heard animators say it. I think that's a real thing. But I think it's I think this represents more about your feelings about the Goofy movie. I don't know. I sort of think it's a meta thing about Donald. I don't know, but I felt like through Donald Glover, through understanding what they thought the Goofy movie was and what a Goofy movie means to them as they grow older. And I think all of that is in here. And I think it's actually one of the smarter, more interesting kind of statements on a film, of the film and what it represents and what it means to someone and what they hope it would mean and what it really means as you get older. I think this is an insanely great episode of the show. I know no one is in it, and it's a weird thing, but I think it is a really wonderful episode, and one that always kind of takes me aback, both by both its audacity and how well it sort of nails a movie that ended up meaning a lot more than I think Kevin Lehman all then thought it would, and seemed to be pretty cool about in the end. But it's a great episode, and if you're watching the new Goofy movie documentary, I would recommend checking this one out definitely as well. All right, it is getting late, but let's ride this out. I hope that was a good site. I think it was. I'm just gonna write questions below. Let's try to get to the Patreon. Nice cornbread. Okay, I have actually, hold on. I have a super dusky. I'm going to do you first. Question for the stream. Phantom of the Paradise and D tier. I didn't like that either. That's why I got upset. That's why I don't like blind rankings, because they make you put something really low that you didn't want to. You just sort of have to. Then that sucks. I hate that about that stuff. So anyway, Nathaniel Foga says, what's something that got written off for taxes that we should see this value today? At this point, Batgirl. I can't think of anything else. Symbiotic Titan. I would like that to be more available. Sinram says, I'm sure you'll be talking about Val Kilmer a bunch tonight. What's a role you would have preferred he played instead of the dude who wound up being cast? When the casting for Interview with the Vampire was announced and Tom Cruise got Lestat, I thought he ought to play the Brad Pitt part instead and have Val be Lestat. I wouldn't mind that, because most of the reports on set is that Tom Cruise researched it a lot and Brad Pitt sort of didn't. I don't think Brad Pitt's performance is very strong, so I would agree with you. Wow, Val Kilmer. What's a role you play instead of the dude who ended up being cast? I bet you he would have done better than Swayze in Point Break. I bet he would have done good. Honestly, like it was something like Mandy. I know we talked about that earlier, but I when I was thinking about him, I thought about how he would have uh, he would have done good in sort of more genre stuff, and I noticed he didn't do that. Also, I got more hero. I'm not sure. I bet you back in the day, if there'd been Kylo Ren in the 90s, he would have done a good job. I'm not sure about the other stuff, but oh, I'm supposed to be doing this. Sorry, you guys did get past the thing, so let me do. Okay, a little light show. Sorry, I forgot. I almost forgot. Yeah, I would say more of the genre stuff. He could have done Face Off. He could have done a lot of the Nick Cage stuff. I think an interesting way. Probably, I don't know if it would. I'm gonna say that. I'm trying to think of something better, and I can't really think of something better, so I'm just gonna say that. Austin asks, well, "Hey Jim, what a great show. Also, remember you wanted to read this first because it's April Fool's Week. Oh, sorry. Though I am okay if you read Sidram's first. It's his birthday. Anyway, my question, which will be answered by you, and the first YouTube question will be Cornbread asking about Alf. My question for you is, been reading a lot of variety articles about the footage from CinemaCon, and there have been a wee bit of weird grammar, and even the one with Val Kilmer passing. I wanted to ask you, do you think that AI has been all used in writing these stories? It might not be. A lot of the times with CinemaCon stuff, they're writing it during the presentations, and their editor should be catching that. And that's something I noticed in Comic-Con stuff too, because they have to write like, sometimes a few of them write during when they play like 10 minutes of footage and stuff. So I would say that's probably why. So I didn't actually get to talk about weapons, so I'm just going to say that because it's really late, and I would like to just answer your guys' questions, and I have to clean, but Cornbread. I think Austin's plan for his question is to go first. Okay, sorry guys. So can't do the thing this week. Anyways, after the price of Switch 2, do you regret buying the old one when you did? When I first heard of it a little, but then I went, yeah, I'm okay right now. But I don't like that I don't know why they thought putting it out now was a good idea. That confuses me, but whatever. Zane Powers, how heartbroken were you when hilarious, talented, all around likable actor Russell Brand was charged for rape? I mean, I think everyone's sick of that guy. I don't know. I was kind of thinking how I really would like someone to explain like how he got into so many movies. I never understood that. Not plausible. When are we getting a Knock Force live action remake? I mean, that was the party song video. So, anyway. Okay. No, I like Phantom of the Paradise. I wouldn't have put a D tier. It's like they made me because it's blind, and if I knew all the movies, I would have put it higher. Anyway, Cineram says, should the Michael studio just do the Zaslav thing and claim a huge tax write-off since they had to junk the entire third act? I don't know if they will because most people consider it to be an easy $1 billion movie, so I think they don't want to not have a $1 billion movie, if that makes sense. So. I think they probably won't because they see it as profitable. Now, how they're going to fix it to make it releasable is a different thing. Zan Powers, if we're getting a Maleficent 3, how likely do you think it'll be we get a Alice in Wonderland 3, obviously Tim Burton, directed by Tim Burton? I think if we did, it would get, if there's going to be an Alice in Wonderland 3, it would be done by somebody else. Much like Alice in Wonderland 2. But I don't think we'll get either. Plausible. When are we getting a Movie Crap live action remake? I don't know. One of these days. Man, it takes a while to animate these things. I'll tell you that. Embla T. I started watching Decker. It's a great show about a secret agent saving America. Okay. That wasn't a question, but good. Okay. Zane Powers. What's the history of an extremely goofy movie based on the totally true Atlantic narrative? Sure. I've noticed there hasn't. I was like, what? What's the deal with extremely? I was thinking that. Anyway, cornbread. Answer honestly. How often during the questions each week do you get stuck in a question you just don't feel qualified out of your depths to answer? Not too often. I would just say skip. I think sometimes it happens, obviously, but okay. Thoughts on John Lovitz saying he wants a reboot of The Critic from Zane Powers? I'm down for that. I hope it happens. Can you read my question first next movie? Okay, I will remember. I'm sorry. I didn't know about that. Apologies. I started revisiting the Pizza Party podcast. What would you have done with its 10th if it didn't end Embla T? I don't know. It's a good question. It's so much changed. I don't know. Can you buy me a Switch 2? No. Do you think WB will turn this around? I mean, it sounds like they're gonna fire a lot of people soon, so I guess sorta. Anyway, what's your favorite breakfast dish? I usually have this Jimmy Dean sandwich, which is okay just because it saves time, but bacon, egg, and cheese usually. Zane Powers, where did Kevin Feige go wrong? No Shang-Chi 2, man. I think that's one of your dumbest moves. Embla T, companies like Miramax and Lionsgate used to be indie distributors and now are turning out franchises. You think A24 will become like that in the future soon? They announced that, so I think, yes, they 100% want to. Cineram question, have you heard from a guy named Crystal lately? It's his birthday as well. I didn't know that. How did you know that? I didn't know that. Well, happy birthday to a guy named Crystal. I didn't know that. Cornbread, with the price of Nintendo's new products, will this result in a gamer to finally be the new champion of the people and cause a revolution? I have heard the gamers are upset. I don't know. I mean, who knows? They did go too far with those prices. I don't know what they're thinking there. Cornbread, why do you hate Phantom of the Paradise so much, but you like the Phantom Menace more, don't you? I don't hate it. It's not my favorite, but I wouldn't... Zane Powers, will this Michael Jackson movie still save Lionsgate? I mean, I don't think Borderlands 2 will. Zane, I guess this is the last one. Zane Powers, what is the total velocity required to fling, I guess Caden the Wolffox, to fling an asteroid into sun gravitational orbit and back in our lifetime? Yeah, this is one of those out of the depth ones. Caden the Wolffox, hey Jim, loved your stream tonight. As I was wondering if you enjoyed the Heretic movie that came out not too long ago. I did not see it, but I would like to. So I guess no, because I didn't get to see it. Anyway. All right. I think that is it. I hope that Atlanta thing was good. I don't know. But anyway, when that video comes out, if you could all be cool and be like, yeah, he's right and stuff. But anyway, should I see Phantom Paradise? You should. Jack Black has played 3 video game characters in movies so far. What is Bowser, Steve? Oh, Jumanji, I guess? I guess that's it. Anyway. Alright. Let's say I want to give a shout out to everyone. We had a very good super chat night. We got to do the pictures, the color, the lights twice, so that's something. I want to thank Black Sea Oxwinkle, Austin, Sinram, happy birthday again, Sinram, Zane Powers, Nathaniel Fogel, Austin, Sinram, Zane Powers, Austin, William Ellman, and William Ellman. Thank you very much for the super chats. Thank you for letting me be able to do this as you all do. Cheers to you all. I will see you all. Oh, you did? Oh, cool, Emily T. I will see you all next time. I hope you guys all have a great night. I think it'll be Thursday next time, but we'll see. Enjoy whatever comes out next, but thank you all for your support. Sorry it's been a little late. It's just been a little crazy for me. But I think I'm excited for this Atlanta thing. I hope this will work out. Anyway, I'll see you all next time. See you next week. Have a great weekend. And, oh, wait. I was going to do it a dumb way. Damn it. Okay. All right. Good night, everyone. See you next time. Subscribe if you would like to, and have a great weekend. All right, bye.